Hi, in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to speed up your WordPress website with 5 simple tools and plugins. So the first thing we need to do is log into the plus control panel. And we're going to go to our WordPress website. In this case, it's rootpaldemo.com. And I'm going to click on my domain. And I'm just going to auto log in using this login button right here. And if you give it a second, it should log me into my WordPress website like this. So I went ahead and already did a GT metrics pull of my website, which tells you basically, the stats. And if you look at this, these are already really great stats. It's hard to improve on this. And this is simply because we're using SSD hosting. We're on a server that's fast, it's very powerful, and it's also in the same region of me where I'm at. So at Rootpal, you're able to select different data centers around the world to launch your WordPress website. And we use only SSD drives on all of our servers. You can also use our NVMe SSD hosting, which is a little bit more expensive, but it will paint the picture of your website very quickly. I think NVMe hosting, which is the hard drive, is a very, very fast hard drive. I think it's 5 times as more powerful than regular SSDs. So it's able to read and write directly to the database and the files a lot quicker and paint that content of your website. However, you really don't need NVMe hosting. You can achieve the same effect by installing some plugins on your WordPress website and also configuring a good CDN for your website. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install W3 Total Cache. So if we go to our plugins and go to add new, and we look up W3 Total Cache, this is one of the best WordPress plugins for caching your WordPress website. And you can click install now. There's some other ones as well you can try, such as this WP Cloudflare Super Page Cache. This requires you to install Cloudflare have Cloudflare on your WordPress website, and then you would connect it through their API or something like that. But we're just going to use the W3 Total Cache, and we're going to click install now. And once it's installed, click activate. And you can see right here that it says serve static assets with an efficient caching policy. And this is because it's using a lot of different JavaScript and CSS, all in different areas. And so with the caching, it should put all of it into a couple files and turn this green. So let's go to the W3 caching and go to performance. So we're going to run through this setup guide, which should help us configure everything and test some things out to see where we can improve our website, page cache, database cache, object cache, and browser cache, and also enable that lazy loading feature. So we're going to click next, and we're going to test the page cache to see if we can save some time by enhancing it into other areas, and it doesn't look like we can. So there's actually reductions if we were to enable some of these other features. So we're not going to use anything different. We're just going to click none. It's already super fast, so we're going to click none there, and we're going to test the database cache. So it looks like we could save some time on the storage engine for the database cache. Default, this is disabled. We recommend using Redis or Memcache. Otherwise, leave this feature disabled as a server. Okay, so Memcache is typically great, but it's not enabled on the server. If you do need it enabled, you can ask us to enable it enable it on your server, and our engineers should be able to enable it. If they can't, there must be another issue, or it's not compatible or something like that, but we should be able to. So click Redis for now, because you can also do Redis, and we'll click next. And we're going to test the object cache, see if we can save some time anywhere else. And we can, so we'll click Redis for the storage engine. And we're going to click test browser cache. And it doesn't look like anything is present, so we can't really see how this is going to help us. So let's just click next. Then we're going to click lazy loading images. And so now we're changing the database cache and the object cache to Redis, which should improve the performance. And I'm going to click dashboard. All right. Now you can go to the general settings and you could start enabling some different things. And it's currently enabled. So let's go to Minify. And Minify is going to help with this stuff right here. So we're going to enable Minify, and it's going to say something about, hey, you know, it reduces the files of the CSS and the JavaScript, and it can be complex, and it can break your website if you're doing some custom JavaScript and custom CSS. So it's going to try its best not to break it, but we understand the risks, or do it for me, which is, you know, what they just basically enable things for you, for the Minify. So we're going to do that. Do it for me. And, oh, whoops. Sorry. That's if you want to pay for it. I'm not going to do that. No, we don't need to pay for that. So once you enable, I understand the risks. We're going to do it. I guess they want to try and charge you. And so we're going to click save, and now we have Minify enabled. So now let's test our website in private mode, which is the best way to test it. Wow, that loaded quick. All right. So it helps that this theme is very fast from the get-go. It's a very fast loading theme. I'm not using a lot of plugins, so the website's going to load fast. So if we go to home, you can see it basically loads instantly almost. So let's test out the GT metrics again and do a retest to see if we saved anything by minifying and enabling lazy load, sorry. So let's check out. Let's test it right now. Okay, and there's these debug modes and stuff like that. So wow, okay. So we got it down to medium low. We were able to minify our JavaScript and our CSS. So now we have even better scores than what we did before, which is great. So our time to first byte is 341 milliseconds. That's insane. So this is really good. This is basically your website is super duper fast. When your time to first byte is around right here. If you're on an NVMe hosting, you're probably going to be around here. But it just depends, you know, depending on the amount of plugins, amount of whatever that you're doing on your website. So this is a basic website, but this is some great speeds. So you can just see installing one plugin, enabling lazy load, switching to Redis, switching to database cache. It basically increased the website by a lot. And this is considered a lot. I think it was at 1.3 seconds. That was the last one it loaded. So imagine your website's loading 5 seconds. This could reduce a website that loads from 5 seconds to 2 seconds. You know, so it's pretty powerful. So let's go back and let's see if there's anything else we can enable. And it doesn't look like we can right now. Most of these things are just other high level things like opcode cache and browser cache. So I don't recommend enabling anything other than what we enabled before. So you can also do a CDN to host your files. So if you click enable, you can select a CDN provider. However, I'm not going to recommend you do that through this or use any of their CDN providers, because we're going to be using Cloudflare. All right, so the next plugin we're going to be installing is a really powerful plugin, and that is the WP Smush. And what this does, and I don't have a lot of images on my website, right? I think most of these images are already compressed. They're already resized to be fast loading. But this is what you need if you're going to be speeding up your WordPress website and you're having a developer or you're developing it. You need to have a WP Smusher. And what this is going to do is it's going to reduce the file size and compress all the images on your website, all the images in your media folder, and images. Any image you upload in the future, it's going to reduce it, compress it, and make your website very fast for loading images. Because some of these images that you'll be uploading may be slowing down your website. And as you can see, I don't really have properly sized images. I'm not doing anything, and it'll pop up right here where it'll say, hey, your images, as you can see, only 130 kilobytes of images. So it's not that much, but sometimes you'll have megabytes of images on the website, and you can reduce that by 80-90%. So if you see here, there's some other plugins too that you can install, like WP Optimize, which will do the the caching, the cleaning, and the compressing of your images. So it does everything that we did install W3 cache, but I have heard really good things. We use Smush, so we're going to install Smush, which also has lazy load. But we're not going to use lazy load because we're already using it on the other plugin we installed. And you don't want to install lazy load on two different plugins because it will break your website. So now that we installed it, let's go ahead and go to Smush. And it's going to click setup. This is awesome. Yes, we want automatic compression. Strip my image metadata. Yeah, so like in the description of your image, there's metadata stored in it. We want to strip it if we're uploading it, whether from your phone or whatever. Enable lazy loading. No, I'm going to disable this because we're using it already somewhere else. No, I don't want to share my data with you. WP Smush. It's going to be checking the images that we currently have, I believe. And it's going to tell us how much we could save. So you don't need to sign up for the pro one. You'll have all these little pro buy now things and stuff like that. If you have a lot of images, I suggest maybe paying for it. I'm not sure. You don't really have to, because you could do this bulk smash now thing. And if you click bulk smash now, it'll do up to 50 or 100 images, I think it is, to save, to compress. So I just did that, and boom, it's done. So it saved 682 kilobits, which is nothing. I mean, once you do it on your WordPress website and you have a lot of images, it's going to be a lot of savings, more megabytes, hundreds of megabytes or more. I don't know. It just depends how many images you have. But now the great thing is everything moving forward that we upload will be compressed and uploaded. So that's awesome. And this is a great plugin to install on a brand new WordPress installation when you're building a new website, because you don't have to worry about the compression or anything like that. So let's go ahead and look around WP Smush, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I don't think we really have to do anything more than go to tools, image resize detection. Cool. So this is kind of cool. So if you turn this on, this will automatically highlight images that are too large for the containers that they're in. So if you're, let's say you upload an image, right? And okay, let's say you can upload an image right here and it's like 3 megabits, right? 3 megabytes, sorry. And this is going to automatically resize and detect, or it's going to automatically detect that this needs to be resized, and you can resize it. So right now, this is the correct size. You see how it's this size? But sometimes this will be huge. It'll be a large image, and it doesn't need to be a large image because it's not displayed as a large image because the container it's in right here is small. So that is a good example of this working. So this is a good thing. So I'm going to enable that. That's very good to have on your website as well. We'll go to settings, and I don't think we need to really do anything else. This is a very basic plugin that can very, very well help your website with images and making your website load fast. So yeah, so let's go on to the next plugin. And for this next plugin, we're going to be actually installing the plugin I was talking about before, which is WP Optimize. So the reason why we're going to be installing this one is because it has a special tool in there that will optimize your database. But it honestly does everything we just installed. It does the smushing, it does the caching. So you might just need this plugin. You could just install this plugin and get away with everything in one go, which is great. But I've heard really great things about those other plugins, so that's why I have multiple. That's why I have multiple of them. But you could just use this one, honestly. So let's go to WP Optimize and head to the database. So this is gonna optimize your database. Sometimes your database might have unnecessary data that might have spam comments, it might have pingbacks, tracebacks. It's gonna compact your MySQL tables. It's gonna do a bunch of other things that optimize your database. Because if your database is not optimized, it's going to load slow. And whatever hosting company you're using, most likely will have limits on the database, the IOPS, the IOs, on how the database writes work. So with Rootpal, we don't limit you on that. So that's a great thing to have, but you also want a fast database because it can only move so fast. So we're going to select this and we're going to run optimizations on everything. So this will optimize your WordPress website. And so we're going to click it. There's probably not going to be much. And what this does is just cleans it. Look, 15 post revisions deleted. You might have hundreds, thousands of revisions that are slowing down your website that you don't need. So be careful before you run this. This could delete some revisions that you need or whatever. So you don't, if you like having months of revisions, then you could do that and save it. But it does slow down your website a little bit. So this is optimizing the database tables. And this is going to take a little bit of time. But we can go over here and we can see the number of records, the database size, the data size of the table, the index size, and what type it is. And they're all going to be DB. So this is going to give you a little insight on how your database is optimized and how much data is on it and everything else. So it looks like it's done. And if we go to settings, we do want to keep the last 2 weeks of data. So it'll keep the last 2 weeks of, the revisions and all that stuff. Always keep a minimum of 15 revisions. That's a good amount. I don't know. Depends on how many you'd like. So we don't need that. You could just keep the last 2 weeks of data. That'll be the last 2 weeks of your revisions or whatever. You can enable scheduled cleanups, which is great to keep cleaning your database. So you can just run this weekly and not worry about it and just click save. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for databasing. And now we have the little scheduled cleaning is enabled. And now we have a clean database. So you can save a lot on your database and make your WordPress website load way faster by increasing the database performance. And if we head over into the images and the caching, other plugins, and the minify, this is basically, you basically could just use this WP Optimize for everything. You don't really need Smush and W3 Total Cache, and it'll tell you right here, looks like you're already using an active plugin called W3 Total Cache. But I like W3 Total Cache because it allows you to select Redis and some other memcache and all that stuff, where I don't know if this one does the same thing, right? But you can't enable this and W3 Total Cache. You got to pick one. So I typically don't use WP Optimize for caching, but you can try it. It might work. And you can't minify it as well because we are minifying it with W3 Total Cache. If we go over to images, you can automatically compress newly added images. You can prioritize maximum compression or set custom, and this is fine. Don't change that. You don't need to change that. It's all good. Basically, it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing as WP Smush, and they have some premium features. And look, lazy loading is not even allowed. You have to upgrade. So you need W3 Total Cache in this sense, because lazy loading is not given for free by WP Optimize. So basically, WP Optimize is a great free database cleanup or scheduling cleanup for your website, WordPress website. Let's head over to settings. Not really much to do here, and that's pretty much it. So let's run one more test. I don't think we're gonna get better speeds than we just got right now. Definitely not better speeds than what we got, because that was pretty great. I mean, anything under 1.5 seconds, under 2 seconds really, is a great WordPress website that loads quick. So when you're hitting under 1 second loading there, that's pretty insane. It's not even needed. Oh my gosh, wow. So after all those changes, we got to 754 milliseconds is how fast it loaded. I don't know why it went so much quicker. That was the largest contentful paint was at 754 milliseconds. So, but the first time to first byte was a little bit later than before. So, but it did load quicker. It was 1.5 seconds, I think, before. Now it's at 1.3 seconds, fully loaded. This is completely loaded. So if we refresh this page, I mean, look how fast that site is. Look, it's pretty much instant. And like, if we go back to home, it's pretty much instant. Back to about, it's cached. Back to home, cached. And now it just loads instantly because these are cached now. So yeah, I mean, if you go to contact, you see how it loaded a little bit slower. That's because it wasn't cached. If we go back to home, go back to now contact, you see how it loads a little bit quicker. It's cached. So yeah, I mean, this is a insane fast website now because of 3 basic plugin installs. And I'm going to tell you one more thing you could do to make it even faster. The 4th thing. And that's just Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is amazing for increasing the DNS response times. They have a caching thing that they do, but you don't really need to use it. So I don't recommend using the Cloudflare caching. I don't recommend enabling the caching because you already have W3 caching, but you can use the Cloudflare caching if you'd like, but it might have conflicts if you're also using the W3 caching. But Cloudflare is good for making your DNS fast. And what that means is, let's say someone from Singapore, or no, let's do this. Let's say someone on the East Coast is trying to reach my website, and my server for WordPress is located on the West Coast. If the East Coast person goes to my website, it's going to load pretty quick. Will it load this quick? Maybe a little bit quicker, because right here it's saying the test location is Vancouver. So it might load a little bit slower than if someone on the West Coast was loading my website and my server's on the West Coast, right? But with Cloudflare, that fixes that issue, and it speeds up your website globally for everyone, because Cloudflare has a bunch of servers around the world that will quickly ping the DNS and create faster response times for querying the website's DNS to point you in the right direction of the server. So that's how Cloudflare works. But they have also, I believe they've also released a CDN thing for WordPress. And let me look that up real quick. So I think it costs around $5 a month. So I logged into Cloudflare for my website, and I'm going to click it, and I'm going to go to speed, and I am using Cloudflare for my website. So let's see. Yes, so Cloudflare is enabled, and this was a test with Cloudflare enabled. So let's go back to speed, and we're measuring your website. So it's going to tell you how fast it's loading with and without Cloudflare. So let's just give that a second to come up with the results. And it's going to give us a little more information as well on the website. So it says visitors to your website see content in 1.5 seconds on Cloudflare, which is 37% faster. So the results on this are kind of skewed because it's probably not 4 seconds. With Cloudflare, it is 1.5 seconds based on, this, which is 1.3 seconds it shows. But it's probably not 4 seconds without Cloudflare. It's probably around maybe 2.5 to 3 seconds, maybe even quicker. This is just saying, wow, look, you're 37% faster around the world than you would be if you didn't use Cloudflare and you just have, your server, your website at the server location and you weren't using Cloudflare. So Cloudflare is great if you want to be global, want it to be quick. It's recommended. It's more secure and everything. But what I wanted to talk about was this automatic platform optimization, and I've heard good things about this. Basically, you can speed up your website for about $5 by serving your WordPress website from Cloudflare's Edge network. So if I click purchase right here, I believe it's $5 per month. I'm not sure. It's not telling me. It did tell me before. Hold on. So yeah, it's not telling me anything about it, but I think they maybe they increased the price. But last time I remember it was about $5 a month for serving your website a little bit quicker than normal. And if you want the look up this article on Cloudflare and it'll tell you all you need to know about the automatic platform optimization. I do know people that have used it that have seen increased times on different devices, such as, mobile, desktop, iPad, or whatever, right? But they didn't see times that were drastic changing. Like, it wasn't from 6 seconds to 2 seconds or 4 seconds to 2 seconds. It wasn't really a big, it was more like point, like oh, my website's loading at 1.6. I got it down to 1.3 with the Edge network. Especially after everything we've done and gone through with those plugins, I don't think you need the Edge network. It doesn't hurt to try though. Try it out, run it again, see the GT metrics. Maybe you'll get 100%. Who knows? But this is all you really need for the DNS is Cloudflare. And then if you do the Edge network, that'll be quick too. A lot of people have said that WP Rocket for WordPress has significantly kept their website quick, very fast, and it doesn't even matter if they're on a slower server, but this makes the website load really quick. So this is not a free tool. It costs $49 per year, which is not that bad. But this is one of the best plugins I've heard for making your website load almost instantly, because it uses CDN and a lot of other things to basically make your website load very, 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 very quickly. We may do a video on this, on how to set this up. We may not, but definitely, if you don't want to go down the paid route, follow the plugins we installed, do everything we did, use Cloudflare for your website, and you should see massive, massive improvements similar to this on your WordPress website. So if you don't know how to set up Cloudflare, you can also just go to our YouTube channel and you can check out our videos, which have gotten a lot of traction on how to add your domain in Cloudflare with Plesk. And so this video right here will show you how to add it to Cloudflare. If you're going to use emailing, you'll want to also watch, if you're going to be using email on the server and not Office 365 or G Suite, you will also want to watch how to use email with Cloudflare in Plesk. You do need to watch this video as well, as it shows you how to configure your Cloudflare for email. And that's pretty much it. That's how you increase your times of your WordPress website. Let's just do one more retest just to see if we could get a better speed now that it is cached and we went to the website. But yeah, that's pretty much the entire video. If you do need help setting up your website to be faster, don't be afraid to reach out to our Rootpal support team. We'll help you take a look at your website, see what's causing, maybe the slowness of it. We can only do so much before it gets into the development range, and we would have to charge you a fee for developing or finding out what's causing the issues of the slowness of your website if it isn't server related or database related. So yeah, I'll also be creating another video on how to detect what plugins are causing massive slow loading times on your WordPress website and how we can remove it or fix it to speed up your website. So thank you and have a great day.